For more on this, let's bring in our money men, business and markets analyst and NewsMax contributor Seth Denson. There he is. Good to see you, Seth. And America's accountant and accounting professor at Montclair State University, Dan Geltrude. All right, not a laughing matter this morning. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about the tragedy in the Midwest and in the South, an emergent situation with these tornadoes causing significant damage all across that region, at least a half dozen states. And as we heard, it's now heading east. We could be seeing more of that. Seth, when we talk about the economy, when we talk about energy prices and inflation and costs, how devastating can this be to that region of the country to have a weather event like this at this time?
Yeah, Tom, you bring up a great point, is the specifics of the region in which this will happen, but it also will impact the national economy as well. In 2020, it's anticipated that tornadoes specifically cost the U.S. economy about $2.5 billion. Now, when we're talking about trillions out of Congress, it doesn't sound like as much. But to these regions that have already been hit by the economic challenges, that makes it even tougher.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with Seth on that. I mean, this is disruptive. And when you have something like that, it's going to have an impact on the economy. So these people are hurting. They're going to need assistance. This is the time, Tom, where government needs to step in, not to just step in to get votes. These are people that are going to be hurting. The government needs to be there for them.
My concern, though, is that, you come out of a tragedy like this, and what we're going to hear from Washington is, well, we need more environmental regulation. That's going because this is caused by climate change, and that's the reason why we need to pass, all sorts of other draconian measures that ultimately will depress the economy. But I agree. I mean, certainly, this is where government needs to come in and be helpful to help these economies and these local communities recover. All right, I want to talk about inflation. This was big news this week, guys. We haven't seen something like this since the recession back in 1982. And Democrats are going to say, well, that happened under Reagan. This isn't about our policies at all. But why is this different, Seth, than what we saw? Why is this what we're seeing now much more like the Carter era inflation?
Yeah, well, a couple of reasons. One is we continue to press money into the economy. The Fed is continuing to buy bonds. Yes, they're talking about tapering. It hasn't happened. But we don't have the economy back at full tilt. So different than the 80s where you didn't have jobs available, you do now. You just have so much cash, and you have a willingness of the American worker, by and large, across the United States not to go back to work. And then you have this global challenge. So this isn't quite what we saw during the Carter administration, but I'll tell you where it could go bad. The benefit that we had was that Reagan came into office. And Reagan started implementing policies that brought this down. Interest rates, the Fed rate got up to 22%, remember, in 1981 and 82. So it was Ronald Reagan's policies that brought that back down. And unless we get somebody like that in there, I don't see it changing.
Dan, Democrats are saying, well, look, wages are going to go up. We expect wages to go up next year. Can wages really keep up with the type of inflation, which is double-digit? If you look at it on an annualized basis, it's double-digit inflation. Can wages really keep up?
If they did, Tom, we're actually going to have more of a problem, because as things cost more for businesses, like wages, they have to pass that cost on to consumers. So the issue really isn't about the wages, it's about getting the inflation under control. I know that's a talking point right now for the administration to say, well, wait, don't look over here where wages are going up. But that's not the answer. Wages need to move with inflation. And when you have inflation running out of control, the path that we're going on, that's not where we need to go with wages. We need to get inflation back down.
All right. Okay, I'm going to have to leave it there. I want to thank our money men. That's a tongue twister. And we're going to see them in the next hour.